Hello, how you doing? Uh, I'll be supporting you today.
Okay. Let's see. Last time when I tried to share the presentation, we had some technical difficulties. So I don't know if maybe you can share
Yeah,
from your end and just go through the slides.
I could make you co-host. You're saying like it wasn't working, like you had sharing
Like
rights, but it wasn't working?
I couldn't pull it up on my end. Or like we were eventually able to get it pulled up, but it wasn't syncing for me where um I could see the slides as I was going through them. Like they could, but I couldn't see them.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, when you're in presenter mode, if you only have one screen, like you're just working on one screen, it tends to take over the screen. Um, let me see. So, all right, if you want to, hold on, Michael.
Any marketing. Right. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide. So first off, I want you guys to drop in the chat how you are feeling today. So whatever emoji, or you can drop the actual word, just tell me how you're feeling in the chat. Bless. Yes, come on, bless. Tired. I understand because I'm tired too. Very happy. Good. I'm glad you are happy. Tyra just came back from work. Listen, I get it. So, like I said, I'm a school teacher. So, our school starts at 7:30 and we get out at 2:20. So, after we got out of school, I had to go pick up my daughter. She is in middle school. So I had to get her dropped off. And I also have a son that is a senior in high school. So I understand everybody's sentiments exactly. But I'm glad that you all are on here tonight. And hopefully you'll take a lot of information back with you just on branding and marketing. I love talking about marketing. They call me the marketing maven. Here in Louisville, I do have a business called T. Marie Consulting, and I work with a lot of small businesses here in the city, mostly Black-owned businesses. So I work with a lot of Black-owned businesses here in the city. I've created a couple things. One is called 502 Black Business Week, and one is called 502 Black Eats Week. So 502 is our area code here in Louisville. And both of those concepts are basically to help promote Black-owned businesses. One is during the week of Juneteenth. And so businesses basically they offer deals and discounts during the week of Juneteenth. Um, so that's pretty much what I do here. So just to give you a little bit more background of my expertise. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide. This is you all's proprietary statement. I'm not sure. I guess you may go through this through each workshop or lesson that you all had to do, so you can read through that on your own.
Yeah.
But we have some goals today for tonight, and it's basically knowing the basics of advertising and marketing. And so you see here our objectives: the basics of a brand, basics of marketing, what it's like to create a brand voice, creating a marketing strategy, launching a marketing campaign, tracking the effectiveness of it, and then scaling your marketing efforts. All of these things is currently what I'm doing with my students now. So this really kind of goes hand in hand with what I'm already doing with my students. We haven't gone through all of these things, but they kind of know the basics of marketing. They know about marketing strategy. And what I'm going to actually be doing with my classes, they're going to actually have to create a marketing campaign for a local business here. So our objectives in this short time that we have is to for you all really to just know the basics of both branding and marketing, because they are two different things, but they work in tandem. Okay.
All right, y'all. I'm gonna try this next slide. Suppose I have a video on it. If it doesn't play, just give me a second. All right. And no, it is not playing. All right.
Yeah.
So let me get oops, hit the wrong button. Let me get an alternate. Let me get an alternate up real quick because I do have another one in here that I think does have a video. No. All right. So You can go
No.
through the next slide, and then I'm gonna pull up a YouTube on the side to circle back to that.
Gotcha, not a problem. So, basically, to understand the power of a brand, you have to know what branding is, and basically, branding is how people feel, how they see, and how they remember your business. um, Branding is more than just a logo. Usually, when people hear the word branding, they think, oh, it's a logo, but it's so much bigger than that. It is basically, again, how you're wanting people to feel, see, and remember your particular product or service. So, if you see here on this screen, you're just looking at some of the most powerful or top brands in the business. So, of course, everybody knows Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, Disney, Starbucks, just to name a few, and you can see how valuable brands can be. So that's just to give you a little glimpse into how powerful branding could be, again, which is a subset of marketing.
All right, so switching over now to the other window. Going to my good and faithful. I worked at Apple for a few years, and let's get into one of these here. Let me know if you hear. Sorry, they put a. All right, let me know if you.
And so you see there, Apple has done a good job with branding. And actually, had I thought about it, I would have had you pull up the 1984 Super Bowl Apple ad, where in this ad it was the only time it was shown during the Super Bowl, and it was when Apple launched the Macintosh computer, and it just had people sitting in a room looking at a screen, and there was no audio, there was no talking or anything. It was just watching people sitting at a screen looking at it, and that was it. And that was Apple launching, and this was back in 1984. So you can see how just involved powerful branding can be. So what I want you guys to do right now for me is to think of your favorite brand right now. Okay, so we said the basics of it is how a brand makes you feel, what you see, and how you remember it. So tell me in the chat um, what comes to mind when you hear your favorite brand. So you can drop the name of your brand in the chat and tell me how you feel when you hear your favorite brand. Like, what does it make you feel? Nike. So, what does Nike make you feel, Angie? What is? No, it's okay. Just like, oh wait. So, tell me when you think of Nike, like, what does Nike make you feel? Disney. Like for me, Disney is like the happiest place on earth. Magical. Yes, exactly. Anybody else got any more to drop in the chat? And also, please
I was
feel
gonna
free.
say I know we got more than two.
Right. Well, because what I was going to say, like, if also feel free to unmute yourself if you want to say it that way too. So it's not because I'm gonna be asking you to do it that way as well. So we're not just completely quiet on here. Okay. So yeah, so as you see, branding is very powerful because it's going to evoke some type of emotion for you, and that's what brands ultimately want to do, is to make you feel some type of way. We can go ahead and go to the next slide. So, like I told you earlier, branding is more than just a logo, right? Now, we know some famous logos, even without the words being on there. So, basically, you see here, there's the Nike logo, but you guys would know what this was even without Just Do It, correct? So, drop a yes or no. If you just saw the check by the branding, just tell me yes or no, you would know what this is. And so everybody's saying yes. So tell me, and you can come off mute. Tell me, what has Nike done to where you know the check without it even having to say Nike or Just Do It? What has Nike done well with branding that you see that check mark and you're gonna know it's Nike. So anybody can come off mute.
Well,
I think I'll let you go, Noah. Don't.
oh no, you could go. It's cool.
I'd say one thing that Nike did is kind of make themselves very accessible. Like you could go anywhere to the mall, to the store. You could go to a local game. You'll see a Nike check mark and you'll know their brand just because you're so exposed to it.
Yes. So they have been very good at exposing the brand to people. So good answer. Anybody else?
They also like they put the check mark on almost every one of their things that they drop, like their shoes, their clothes. They put it everywhere.
Also good answer. So basically, there's a brand story, a brand voice, a brand identity. All of these elements are a part of branding. So they've done all of these things to make you notice that if you see a check, you know that that's Nike, right? So your brand voice is basically the personality and the tone, when the brand communicate how it sounds in ads. So even Nike itself, it has a brand voice, right? What do you think Nike's, if Nike could talk, if the logo could talk, what do you think? Tell me one word you think this brand would say. Motivational. Good job. And you can of course come off mute and say it as well. Money, because Nike is expensive.
I would say action.
Action. Good word. There's one word in particular that I'm looking for. What do you associate Nike with?
Athletics.
There you go. Okay, athletic. So most people, when they're buying Nikes, they see themselves as athletic, right? Because that's just kind of, again, how Nike has branded themselves. Okay, so there we have the brand voice. So again, with them, it is to inspire, connect, influence, make people feel like they're athletes, that can do any type of sport and excel. So again, that's your brand voice. Now your brand image should invoke some kind of emotion or feeling. It should also display who you are at a glance. So good brands will invoke something in you that was already there. So if you see yourself as athletic, Nike is just going to kind of help reaffirm that with the quality of their product. Okay, we can go to the next slide. Now, even though I said that branding is not just logos, logos are really the core. That's part of the image, right? So that's part of the branding. But don't rush the process of coming up with a good brand or a good logo. And logos are going to change over time. And so this is just showing you different versions of the Nike logo. So back in 1964, they were known as Blue Ribbon Sports. And so from 64 to 72, they evolved from whatever that development process was, going from that one in 1964 to becoming Nike in 1972. And so this is where you first see the check mark. Then 6 years later, the Nike moved off of the check mark and went on top of it. They went to the reverse colors. And then now, because Nike's done such a good job with branding, you can just see the check and know that it is Nike. So anytime you're doing anything in business, don't rush the process. Good branding evolves over time. Good branding is constantly changing, to adapt to the times and the environment. And this is kind of what I'm teaching my students now. When brands don't adapt, they will fade out. So, but always be ever evolving, but also don't rush the process. Good branding takes its time.
And Tiandra, just wanted to drop a fun fact.
Okay.
The 1978 version of the Nike logo was created by an intern at Nike.
Oh, nice.
So don't ever feel like y'all too young for anything. Like that intern made what became the most iconic version of Nike, because that swoosh is now the last piece that's still standing for the Nike branding. And that was a young lady that did that back in 1978.
Nice. So listen, we learn something new every day. Okay. So we can go ahead to the next slide. Now, brand personality. So we talked about branding, the basics of it. We talked about a brand voice. And remember, I said brands also can have personalities. So brand personalities at the core of the brand is at the core of the brand voice and image. So some categories we should include when outlining your brand personality is the identity, the language, the tone of voice, and the characteristics. Because what I'm going to have you guys do at some point during this evening is I'm going to have you create a brand, and you're going to have to come up with these things for your brand. So again, brand personality is at the core. So when you think of, let me think of a product. When you think of, oh, what was those daggone things that was is it Stanley? The Stanley Cups?
The cups, yeah, the big
You think of
tumblers.
Stanley Cups. What do you think the personality of the Stanley Cup is? And you can come off mute and say that. Trendy, cute. Okay. Anybody shout out an answer? When you think of Stanley Cups, VSCO girl? Okay.
I would say it fits into a certain aesthetic, like a more cute, maybe like bougie aesthetic.
Gotcha. Pricey. I agree. Because I was like, how much for a cup to keep some? Because I didn't understand the fanfare, but whatever. Because I don't even know how much do they cost? Anybody know? Because raise your hand or
Elena put it in the chat, 40
yeah.
plus.
Who has a Stanley Cup?
My wife had it before it was popular. Got it on sale somewhere. I don't remember where, but you know.
Yeah, I just didn't understand the craze behind it, but whatever. I drink water out of a water bottle. So okay. So great. So again, you guys were dropping just some adjectives. Is Awala, never heard of that brand, but okay. But as you see, it had some type of brand identity. And people who had Stanleys, they were really just joining the craze because I guess, maybe walking around with it, you were like, oh, you're trendy or you're in the now, whatever. But as you can see, there was a personality with people having Stanley Cups. So just for you all to really just kind of understand, brands have voices, they have personalities. And again, all of that goes back to you're wanting your target audience to feel a certain type of emotion when they're interacting with the brand. That we can go to the next slide. All right. So as I mentioned, I said that you guys are going to create a brand. So we'll take a few minutes. And what you are going to do is pick one of these. So either the mountain bikes, soda company, toys, sunglasses, or winter coat. And what I'm going to want you to do is to come up with a name for that product. So you'll choose one of these and you are going to come up with a name. I want you to come up with a logo, and you'll probably have to describe the logo. So name, logo, tagline. A tagline is basically like just do it with Nike. And I want you to tell me what your brand's personality is. So pick one of those: name, logo, brand personality, brand voice, and then tell me the colors. Now, we won't get too much into color psychology, but branding also includes things like color and font as well when it comes to, especially when it comes to logos. So again, name, logo, colors, brand, voice, brand personality, and tagline. So you got 6 things. So I'm gonna give you a few minutes to work on that. And I'm gonna ask for some volunteers.
You want
So
me to do? You want to do little groups, or you want to do individuals?
I can do individuals.
All right. All right. I'll play some music while y'all
Okay, yeah. So
work it
we'll
out.
just take about 5 minutes to do that. So just 5 minutes to, it doesn't have to be fancy.
Put on my diamonds in the slushy, cut my floors, crack his flow is mid. Tell him he ain't dope enough. Your heart pump Kool-Aid and mind pump Douce. Please don't talk to me, cause I've been up 2 days. How you tap dance and run away, but still too lame. Gotta keep it on you, cause they shooting like it's 2K. Whoa, not at me. I'm out the way, just want the green. I'm low key, and if I take an L, better learn.
Give us the recorded information. Okay, so we got someone in the chat. Okay, let me try to see. So Joey said a soda company, J Fizz, logo is a bubble letter J with lightning bolt through it. And the company's personality is energetic. Okay, okay. Anybody else? I'm assuming the J is for Joey. So J Fizz. Anybody else? Let's get some verbal confirmation of the. Okay, so we got Karen said the mountain bikes are electric based, but also made with special tires to ensure. What's the name? And don't forget to tell me your tagline, the name. Because again, when you're creating these, you want people to have some type of emotion tied to the brand. So again, let us know the tagline, the name of the brand's personality. Okay. Anybody else? Have to do y'all like I do my students and volunteer, pick on somebody. Let's see who we got on here. Let's try. Let's see. Joey went. Jayla.
Miss Tiandra, Helena has her hand raised.
Oh, okay.
Helena, excuse me, I said that incorrectly.
Yeah, just go ahead because my screen is silly. So.
Okay. So I made a soda company and I called it Sin Jelly. And so it's kind of a health and energy drink because there's a lot of brands on the market that are like advertising probiotic sodas, but they're not actually healthy. It's more so like an ad, like an ad phrase. And so I was thinking of like a fun, like bubbly, active personality. And then I plan on having energy drinks and then as well as probiotic drinks. So you can kind of pick. And so for the energy drinks, it'd be like darker colors, while the probiotics would be more bubbly pastels. And so I was thinking of working with like gyms, places like Publix, and then the name would be the fizz that fixes because it makes you energized or it like helps your gut health.
Okay, good job. So we have YY. Mine's is Lanera. Maybe I'm saying it wrong, which is a jewelry company with the logo of a crescent moon. The tagline is shining your own face. Yes. And the colors are pink, champagne, and silver. The brand personality is very warm, supporting, and empowering. Okay, good job. Good job. So as you see, that was just a quicker version of brand creation, right? So just think when brands are actually developing and they're trying to launch, the process is going to be way more tedious, right? Because once we talk about our marketing part of today's lesson, you'll understand how those things go hand in hand, right? So good job. Give yourselves a round of applause. You can drop some hand claps in the chat. Okay. Okay, so we can go on to the next slide. This chat box.
All right, this was another marketing video. So let me stop sharing and pull it up real quick.
Okay.
Jump into that. Okay. Hold on a second.
Hey, this is Cole, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Spicy Pretzel Cheddar Club is the spicy filet with the pretzel bun. You get a new flavor with a new texture. It's toasted on the outside, but the inside is soft, and then you hit the spicy chicken filet, and it's like, whoa.
Real guests paid for their testimonial.
Okay, so that was getting us into our marketing segue of tonight's lesson. And so this is kind of really where I'm big at. I know a lot about marketing. I don't know everything. Yes, I call myself the marketing maven. But the thing about marketing, it's ever changing, ever evolving. And so I'm always learning the latest marketing trends. So as you guys go through your program, and what I can tell you to do is to always look at what marketing trends are coming up for the new year. So like right now, I'm going to start looking at marketing trends for 2026 because some of the big things that were big in marketing for like 2025 was the use of AI. And you're going to see a lot more of that in 2026, I'm sure. So I'm going to read this and then I'm going to have you guys do something for me real quick. So the purpose of marketing overall, the primary goal is to persuade consumers or businesses by either changing their perception of the brand, the product or service, persuading them to purchase or feel motivated or tempted to purchase the product or service. So basically, marketing is how a business tells the world about their product or service so people will buy it. In a nutshell, again, marketing is how a business tells the world about their product or service so that people will buy it. So what I want you guys to do right now for me is to, let me see where it, sorry, I made some notes, so it's what I'm looking at. Do you follow any influencers just for their vibe? So you can drop yes or no in the chat. Do you follow any influencers just for their vibe? Okay. Yes, got yeses. So pretty much the consensus is that you guys do that. That was also a big marketing trend. Maybe that was a 2024, 23 marketing trend was influencers. And so there's like so many levels.
Sorry, guys. Sorry, guys.
Okay. So there's different levels to influencers, right? And so we know they are like mega influencers, which are going to be like your celebrities, all the way down to nano influencers, which are people like any of us could be an influencer, right? And so if you ask somebody in Louisville, they may say I'm an influencer because if I can make a post about a Black-owned business and it'll take off. Case in point, we have a new food hall that is opening up here next week. I did a Facebook Live of this food hall. So I got a sneak peek and I made a Facebook Live and it has like over 6,000 views. So people were paying attention because I was talking about, now mind you, the food hall is not Black owned. There are 3 Black owned restaurants in that food hall. But when I post about certain things, people pay attention to what I'm talking about. Let me ask you another question. And again, you all don't have to put everything in the chat. You can feel free to come off mute and answer as well. Would you buy something just because someone on TikTok said to buy it? No. Nope. Okay. So this one was the opposite. So you will follow certain influencers for their vibe, but you won't. So if these influencers are the ones that you all like, are telling you about a product, you're not necessarily going to buy it. Is that what you're telling me? So you can answer yes or no. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. Um, so the I guess we can go ahead to the next slides. So we got the purpose of marketing. Unless I was already interested in the product. I'm gonna tell you now, like TikTok, because I'm on TikTok. um, TikTok is real heavy with my husband buys a lot of stuff off the TikTok shop. So he is easily influenced by the TikTok marketing. There is a lot of stuff that I see on TikTok. I'm like, ooh, but the shipping is way too expensive for me. So, but drop in the chat if you have purchased something off TikTok because you saw it on TikTok. Yes. I have bought stuff off TikTok. Maybe one thing off TikTok. Okay. So, because I always joke like TikTok made me buy it. So we can go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay. So, how do you market effectively? Well, one of the things that is really big when it comes to marketing is knowing who your target audience is. And I actually just had this lesson with my students, right? So, everybody is not going to be your target audience. And so, with that comes research. You're going to have to research who your target audience is. So, earlier I had you guys create a brand. So now I want you to tell me who, without knowing really what a target audience is outside of people that you think would buy your product, I want you to tell me, not in the chat, I want somebody to come off mute and tell me for your particular product that you created about 10 minutes ago, who do you think your target audience is? Who is the type of person that is going to buy your product? Describe that customer to me.
For mine, I would say it'd probably be young adults, people that are on social media, and then athletes.
Okay, great, awesome. Anybody else?
I didn't put mine in the chat, but I was gonna name mine Sun Kiss Shade, and it was the sunglasses one. And my target audience would be people who like going out on vacation.
Okay, good job. And so basically, target audiences are again the people that you want to buy your product. And so even in trying to figure out your target audience, there are some market segments. So there's market segmentation. So within that target audience, you have market segmentation. And so to be able to define your target audience, you're going to have to know four things: the demographics, the psychographics, the geographics, and the behavioral of those customers. And so when you do that, so demographics is probably the easiest, okay? Because demographics is describing who they are. So it's going to be race, gender, age, things like that. That's demographics, okay? Then your psychographics, like psychology, is going to be what they value, how they think, what they feel. Your geographics is going to be where they are in the country or in the world. And then behavioral is how they respond to certain things. So those four market segments is what you would have to research in order to find your perfect customer. Okay, so defining your target audience, understanding your place in the market. When I do consultations with business owners, I always used to make them do a SWOT analysis, and we'll go through what that is. But the SWOT analysis is your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, right? So anytime you do marketing for a product, whether it's a marketing plan, campaign, whatever, you're always going to want to create a SWOT analysis. And basically, it's a four chart, or you can do a square and have it broken down into four quadrants. And this is where you're going to have to be realistic about your brand. And so What I'm going to have you do right now is just to take a minute or two. I'm going to want you to create a SWOT analysis. So draw a square and put it in 4 quadrants, and just give me one strength, weakness, and opportunity and threat about that brand that you just made. And so your strengths are things that are going to be good, that your brand is good at now. If this brand was out, the things that it's good at. Your weaknesses are going to be things that can cause maybe problems for the brand, or something that your brand wouldn't be as good at until you're really able to identify it. The opportunities, what opportunities would your brand have to make it a strength? And then the threats, and not like a harmful threat, but a threat to your brand or service, that it couldn't maybe stand up against something similar. So just come up with one strength, one weakness, one opportunity, one threat. And opportunities, think of it like this: opportunities are internal. Okay, so things within the brand. Threats are going to be external, so things outside of kind of your control. So just come up with one of each for the brand that you just created. So just take about a minute to do that. Looking for more water. Okay, so would anybody like to volunteer to tell me what they came up with for their SWOT analysis? Just tell me what one of the strengths was, the weakness, the opportunity, and the threat, based on the product the brand that you created. Don't all speak up at once. Let's get somebody that's been kind of quiet tonight. So I'll have your store instructor pick someone. Let's see who we can call on. If you want to pick somebody to tell us. Okay. Well, go ahead. You have your hand raised. Miss, I'm sorry, how do you say your name? Helena?
Alina,
Helena. Okay. Okay, go
for
right.
mine, I would say the strengths would be like the aesthetic of it. It's sort of like the marketing aspect that we have like a structured brand and we know the kind of people that are going to be interested. I would say weaknesses that the soda like market is like very heavily monopolized and there's a couple companies at the top and it's very hard to break into the industry. Opportunities I would say are potentially like marketing opportunities. Like for example, there's going to be influencer events. There's going to be stores that are opening up that want to fill their shelves. So we could definitely make use of that. And then threats, I would say, are other companies that fit a similar sort of branding, like things like I know a brand called like Poppy, Bubbly, like those kind of brands. They're going to be our competitors.
Good job. Good job. Thank you. I'm looking in the chat. Let's see. Janelle, my brand is Joy Toys. The tagline is Smiles Every Day. The logo is a bunch of toys in bright colors. Bunch together on a toy train. The personality is fun and spontaneous. My target audience will be children 0 to 7. A strength is that we offer the toys that are all waterproof, okay, with stain removable fabric. A weakness is there are not toys, STEM fidgets that appeal to older kids. An opportunity is that we can collaborate with other companies. And a threat is there might be other companies that have goals similar to ours. Okay, good job. Noah, is that how you say your name?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't say my brand, but I did the sunglasses brand. The name was Halo, and the slogan was "Look differently." And
Okay.
the personality was like modern luxury, and the voice was I don't the voice was like mysterious and sharp. The colors were like sunset colors, like orange, yellow, and then the strengths would be it makes people effortlessly feel good. The weaknesses would be it relies on staying in trend, like it heavily relies on it being trendy at the time, I guess you could say.
Okay.
And then opportunities would be it's a good product to it's a good product to use to work with influencers or celebrities and things like that. And then
Okay.
threats would be there's a lot of competition with bigger sunglasses brands like Ray-Bans or stuff like that.
Awesome. Good job. Good job, ladies. The last time I did this too, the girls was just kicking the boys' butts. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some made up products, and I want you to guess who the target audience is. So one of the products is again made up products, organic hot Cheetos. So tell me who you think the audience would be for some organic hot Cheetos,
I
girls.
would say people that are on a diet or trying to get healthy, and then people that like hot Cheetos but might want an alternative.
Okay. Anybody else? Joyce in the chat said girls. Organic hot Cheetos. Okay. Um, let's see another made up product. What about let me see. A made up product. What about hmm, well, it's not really made up. I'm trying to think. I should have asked ChatGPT to give me some made up products. What about a pillow that never goes flat? Who do you think the target audience for that would be?
I'd say people who have difficulties with sleep.
Okay. A light sleeper, older people who struggle with back pain. Yes, probably so. I would love a pillow that would never go flat. Um, okay. And let's see, one more made up product. Insomniacs, people who love napping. Yes, that would definitely be good. Um, one more made up product. Let me see. Let me see. What about um hmm, can't think of anything. We'll just go with those two. Okay. But I just wanted that was just for you all to just kind of see um how you are with coming up with what a target audience could look like. Okay. So good job. Good job. Give yourselves a round of applause. Put some hand claps in the chat. Okay. So we can go ahead to the next slide. So again, this is just kind of reaffirming what we were saying about the target audience. So this is demographics, right? So the age, gender, income, motivation, problems you are solving, how you can fix it, how could you be of service. So that's the demographics of. Now they don't have the geographics, behavioral, or psychographics on here, because usually when people think of target audience, the first thing they go to is demographics. So this, what you see on the screen, is more demographics. But if you really want to get to the core of who your customer is, then you're going to look at those other three market segmentations as well. So we can go ahead to the next slide. Now, when you are, again, researching, so we got the SWOT, we looked at our market segmentation to determine who our target audience is going to be when you are doing a marketing plan or marketing campaign. And this is also when you are doing business plans as well. You want to have a SMART goal. And SMART goals are basically things that are specific, measurable, actionable, realistic, and timely. So when you are coming up with your goals for this brand, you're looking at what do we need to accomplish that people are actually going to be invested in this brand. And so when you say specific, you want to be clear and specific about what your goals are. This helps you know how and where to get started. Once you have the specific goals, then you're going to look at how do you measure those goals those goals to make sure that you are reaching them. So you're going to have measurable goals that can be tracked, allowing you to see the progress. They also tell you when a goal is complete, and you can measure those by, and I think we'll talk about this a little bit later, by clicks to a website or how many items sold, things like that. So specific, measurable, then you have actionable. Are you able to take action to achieve that goal? Actionable goals ensure the steps to get there are within your control. And then, but you want to make them realistic. Like you don't want to have goals for this brand that is too far out of your reach. Like be realistic. And if the goal for your brand is to let's just say something simple, like you are going to have a Instagram page for the brand and you want to reach 1,000, or you want to get 1,000 followers within a week. That's very specific. It's measurable. It's actionable because you can do things to draw people into where they want to follow you. It's realistic because you're talking about, if you say you want 1,000 followers in a week, that's you can break that down to want to try to gain each day. And then timely. A date helps us stay focused, motivated, inspiring you all to work hard towards that goal. So we said we have this Instagram page. We want 1,000 followers within the week. So all of those, that is a SMART goal. And so that's how you want to do anytime that you are trying to market and brand a brand. Go to the next slide. Again, this is just kind of reinforcing what I said. So for specifics, set real numbers with real deadlines. Don't say I want more visitors. Say how many visitors you want. Okay. When you are doing the measurable part of that, make sure your goal is trackable. Don't hide behind buzzwords like brand engagement or social influence. Like, have a number to that. Make sure it's attainable. Make sure you're going to work towards the goal that is challenging but possible. Don't try to take over the world in one night. It's not going to happen. Like everybody, it's like, oh, I got, a product or a brand and it's going to do this. No, that's going to be to the realistic side of yourself. So be honest with yourself. Know what you and your team are capable of. Don't forget any hurdles you might have to overcome. And then give yourself a deadline. Don't keep pushing towards a goal you might not hit someday. All of that, again, is called SMART planning, a SMART goal. Because again, be realistic in what you're trying to do when it comes to your marketing. Okay. And so we have a break before we finish up. And so it looks like you have about a 20 plus. So definitely go ahead and a lot of you are already on mute. So if you want to just go ahead and take that little break. And I will see you guys back at 7:54.
Sorry, I didn't show you my logo and the
Okay, is everybody back? Drop a yes if you are back and ready to finish learning. Okay, so welcome back, welcome back. So I want you to real quick before we finish up the second half, tell me how are you feeling about the information that you received so far? So you can drop that in the chat as well. What do you think about all the information that you've been presented with so far? Got a thumbs up, thank you. A star. Helpful, good. Thumbs up from Joey. Okay, okay, Jayla. Okay. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I always appreciate feedback. A good marketer appreciates feedback and is not afraid of such. Okay, so we are going to get into marketing strategy and things like that. And so within marketing strategies, basically your marketing strategy is going to be a step-by-step plan that explains who you want to reach and how. So I probably could have dropped that earlier, but again, your marketing strategy is going to be a step-by-step play or plan that explains who you want to reach and how. And within the marketing strategy, you're going to have tactics and objectives, right? And so within marketing tactics, that's how you're going to do something. And so when you are coming up with a marketing campaign, especially if you're launching like a new product or service, you want to draw people in, right? So we got the branding part of it. So we're going to start branding, but we still have to draw people in. And so you can do some marketing tactics, especially with a new brand, are things like giveaways, again, influencers, sponsorships, paid advertising, and there's way more marketing tactics that, but for the sake of time, these are just a few things that you can do to draw your audience in. Okay, so what I'm going to have you do right now is I'm going to give you a challenge. And what I want you to do is I'm going to give you $100 to market your product from earlier. I'm going to give you $100. What would you do? Would you do a giveaway, IG ads, or pay a classmate to post it, which would be the influencer? So, and now $100 is not a lot, right? But this is a new product. So tell me, just take a minute or two to write down what type of tactics you would use to market your brand, and you only have $100. So you need to break down what you think that would cost. And if you say, I'm going to do a giveaway, tell me what type of giveaway it is. So like explain, be ready to tell me which marketing tactic you're going to do and give me detail about that. So just take like a minute or two to use your $100 budget for your brand or your product or service that you came up with earlier. Okay, so Joy says $30 paid advertising and 20 worth of, let me pull this up, $20 worth of my product giveaway, then pay influencers to promote. Okay, so are you using the rest of the 100 to pay the influencers, and are they going to promote this on what platform? And which type of advertising? Is it going to be radio? Is it going to be TV, magazine, billboard? Like, those are the type of things you have to decide when you have a marketing budget. Okay. So anybody else want to go and tell me how the rest goes to them, radio and IG? Okay. Anybody else want to tell me what you are spending your $100 budget on? And let's actually verbalize that, not in the chat. Let's come off mute and tell me how you are spending your $100 to market your product. Helena?
For mine, what I said I was going to do is on Instagram, I was going to make a post. And so the people that repost that post and then also follow the account, they'll be eligible for a $25 gift card giveaway plus 2 free drinks of their choice. And then there's also going to be a $50 gift card giveaway, and they get a free, like a free sample of every single flavor, just so you get people to follow you and to like share it to their friends.
Okay, good job. Julian, you have your hand up, and I know there's one more person that has their hand up, so you can go after Julian.
I would do $35 for ads, and what I mean, I would post on IG and TikTok since they're free platforms, and I would sell on there. Then influence, I would use $35 worth on influence, and then the $35 on for influence, and for the rest would be just sorry.
No, you're good. And what's your product?
Selling shirts.
Okay. Okay. And who was the other person? I can't have their hand up, but go ahead and you can come off mute and tell us how you're spending your $100.
I said that I would use $100 for social media ads because a lot of influencers, at least good influencers, they charge more than $100. And so I wanted to optimize my spread for like the public. So I think a social media ad would be a really good thing. But also people do scroll past those. So I don't know how effective that would be, but I'm considering that $100 would probably get me a good post. So I'd hope that that would be enough.
And Noah said, I think she used 20 of it to do boosted ads on Insta and TikTok, and then use 20 of it for a small giveaway, and then use the rest to collab with a small creator. Okay. Now, what I will say, what people can do, and I often try to encourage business owners that I talk to do this, is what is called UGC, which is user generated content. And so are you all familiar with what user generated content is? Yes. So you can drop a yes or no in chat if you know what that is. No. Okay. So basically what user generated content is, let's say you guys with the Stanley Cups. So let's say you have the Stanley Cup and you're excited about your Stanley Cup. And so now you're making a TikTok or a reel about this Stanley Cup, and Stanley sees it and now they're reposting it. So basically that's what user generated content is. And basically they just got free promotion based off your TikTok or your reel, because you were so excited about this product, you made a video about it, you posted it, they happen to come across it, they reshare it, you just did their content for them. And so that is a good thing as well. People will do user generated content for you as long as the product or service is great. And that's going to be great because it all comes down to the branding that we mentioned earlier, how you're making people feel about your product, and then the right type of marketing strategy based on the research that you came up with trying to find that perfect buyer. Okay. And so let me backtrack a little bit. So we talked about what marketing strategies were, and in marketing strategies, you have your tactics and objectives. And then when you are launching a new product, most people will do a marketing campaign, because most of the time marketing campaigns are when you want to launch something. So that is a focused effort or a series of posts, ads, or events to promote the brand. So anytime something new launches, you're going to see a marketing campaign for that. So case in point, McDonald's brought back their Monopoly game. I don't know how many of you were born when they did it some years ago, but it was a big scandal tied to the Monopoly game. And so now they're bringing the Monopoly game back. So they've kind of been doing a campaign with that. And so you might have heard some radio ads, or you might have seen some TV commercials. So all of those is a series of things to put the product in front of you. So that's what a marketing campaign is. Okay. So just wanted to make sure that you guys understood that. We can go to the next slide. Now, so we talked just a little bit on the budget, and I gave you a small budget, but most brands deal with, hopefully, will deal with big budgets, right? And you have to be able to track those. And that was part of the SMART goal when we said it had to be measurable, obtainable, basically, being able to track where the money is going. And so you do that through looking at your analytics. So if you are going to be real heavy with social media marketing, you know that you can track your analytics. And so you're going to look at, like it shows here on the screen, how many clicks that you had on the website. Because if you are going to do, if one of your strategies is going to be social media marketing, you definitely want to draw people to the website. One of your SMART goals might be to increase your website traffic by however many, right? So if you're going to promote or advertise on social media, you definitely want to put that link out there to draw people back to the website. And so you're going to look at your analytics on social media to see how many people actually went to the website. Based off that, the reach, how many people it actually got in front of, how much it ended up costing you per click. And then you see, anytime you look at your Instagram or TikTok reels, like really look at those analytics, like get in the habit of doing that all the time. And so tracking is also, like, again, if you're just looking at your views and all of that stuff. So especially if you're on TikTok and you're trying to see how many people have viewed it, that's tracking. And so you always want to track how your SMART goals are going. And so that's basically, again, looking at the numbers, looking at the dollar amounts, and that's the tracking part. Okay. We can go to the next slide. So then we are identifying our marketing channels, which is, we kind of touched on that a little bit. Okay, so here is like, where do you start? Should you do all or some, and which ones are best? So really, marketing is a lot of trial and error. And when I meet with clients, usually I get paid to tell people what to do. So I'm a marketing consultant. So I don't do any implementing. So I don't help them implement anything. I tell them, this is what you need to do to market your business. So I'm basically giving them a lot of strategies for them to implement, right? And so what they have to do is figure out how they're going to do that with whatever type of marketing budget they have. And so I help them figure that out. So it's like, where do you start with identifying your marketing channels? Well, if you did a good job on the target audience research part of that, you know who your customer is. So that's why I mentioned the demographics, psychographics, geographics, and behavioral. Because if you know all four of those market segmentations, you're going to know where your perfect customer is. So for your generation, you guys are heavy on social media. Tell me, which platform are you on the most? Your generation, what platform are you on the most? So you can drop that in the chat, or you can raise your hand, you can say it out loud. What platform? TikTok, 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 TikTok. Exactly. I think my generation, for the most part, we are on Facebook. My son tells me all the time, Facebook is for old people. Okay, I'm 45. So if we're gonna be, if the old people are on Facebook, then that's where we are. But your generation, a lot of you are on TikTok. And so you would have to think, if you have a product that your customer age range is anywhere from 15 to 45, you know that's a wide range for a customer, right? And so you're going to have to identify which marketing channels are going to be best for that wide range of people. I might not necessarily be on TikTok, but I'm definitely on Facebook. Your generation are probably not going to be on Facebook. You're going to be on TikTok. So you have to identify which marketing channels that you're going to use. A lot of people do watch TV, but a lot of people don't. So are you going to use TV? Are you going to use radio? Are you going to use billboards? That knowing which marketing channel to use, again, is going to come from how well you were able to do the research on your customers. And you might have a product or service that is going to work for more than one target audience, and that is okay. When I'm gonna tell you who does this really well. Going back to McDonald's. So McDonald's knows that they have different audiences. And so McDonald's might have a general commercial that is, and this is going to be more race based. So McDonald's will have a general commercial. They'll have a little bit of everybody in this commercial. But let's say McDonald's is going to advertise on BET. And that McDonald's commercial, you're probably going to see Black people in the commercial because it's going to air on BET. And so if I'm watching BET, more than likely, I'm going to want to see somebody that looks like me in a McDonald's commercial. And so that is, again, is a big part of being able to identify who your target audience is, so you know how to effectively reach them really with the least amount of money. Okay. Because if you don't know who your audience is, you're going to waste a lot of money. And remember, I said earlier, while marketing is a lot of trial and error, you don't want to make too many errors. Okay. So again, should you do all or some? Every marketing channel has their advantages and disadvantages. Case in point, with TV is going to reach a lot of people, right? But because it's going to reach a lot of people, it's the most expensive. That's why Super Bowl ads for a 30-second spot, I think it's like 4 or 5 million. That's a lot of money but how many people are watching the Super Bowl? Like hundreds of millions of people. And so is it worth this $4 million investment for this 30-second spot to reach 200, 300 million people? Okay. But again, they all have their advantages and disadvantages. That's going to require you to research as well. Okay. So again, marketing, all of this is just all about research and knowing who your audience is. And that will help you determine which ones are the best. We can go to the next slide. So projections and tracking, always make sure you are tracking your marketing effort every single step. Any way that you can track it, do that. Again, a lot of that's going to come from your analytics. It's going to make sure that you're monitoring your budget. So that's how you do that. What is your audience size? How can you measure your audience size? Again, that's going to be on how specialized your product or service is, what that looks like, how many sales are coming as a result of your marketing. You're going to get that from your website. If you have a brick and mortar, people coming in. So you're looking at numbers. So this is how you're determining sales. This is going to be a numbers game. How many people are sharing your brand? If you're doing social media marketing, you're checking, again, your analytics. You're looking at how many shares and reposts and things like that. And what's your brand's impression on people? Again, going back to what we said the basics of branding is, which is how people are feeling, what type of emotion are they exhibiting or affiliating with your brand. Okay. So again, projections and tracking, just always making sure that you're doing that. What's the audience size? And you can also have niche marketing, right? So basically niche marketing is having a smaller group within your target audience, right? So I was trying to think. So, okay, with Nike, right? Nike has basketball, they have cross training, they have football cleats. All of those can be individualized niche marketing because everybody doesn't need a Nike basketball shoe. Everybody doesn't need a cleat. So you can, within your larger target audience, you can also do marketing for a subset of that. Okay. We'll go to the next slide.
That is the last slide. So
Okay. That is the last one.
I don't know if you want to do any closing remarks, and then we do have our survey and Mentimeter for tonight. So
So
don't jump off just yet.
yeah, so let me see. Okay, so what I want you guys to do, so with everything that you just learned tonight, right? I want you to create a 1 minute pitch. No, it's too long. Give me a 15 to 20-second pitch of your brand. So all night we've been working on different things of the brands that you created. And this pitch is 15 to 20 seconds. Think of it as if you were creating a TikTok ad, and just tell me, pitch it, 15 to 20 seconds. So I'll give you about a minute to work on that. And then I want somebody to be bold enough to pitch their brand. So sell it to us, basically, sell it to us. So I'll give you about a minute to just, it doesn't have to be fancy, just something that you would say that we'd be like, oh, I gotta try that. So I'll give you about a minute to try to come up with something.
I don't need a dessert.
Do we have anybody that is bold enough to go?
I can go.
Okay, is it Nadia?
Yeah.
Okay, so go ahead. You got 15 to 20 seconds to pitch your brand.
Okay, so I got meet mount mount bike. You're right for any mountain and any trail. Strong, fast, and built for adventure. Feel the freedom, chase the trail. Mount bike takes you there.
Okay, good job. Let's give her a round of applause. Anybody else want to go? Come on, let's get a couple more. Okay, oh, she got all the applause. Yes. Anybody else? She started it. She started it. Let's get a couple more. Let's see. Don't make me call y'all out. Come on, let's get a couple more. Let's see who I can call on. Let's try Jayla.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm losing my voice right now. Sorry, I'm losing my voice right now, so I can't really talk.
Gotcha. Okay. What about Janelle?
Yes, so my brand is Joy Toys, and essentially it's a brand for children ages 0 to 7. And what's special about us is that we have waterproof toys and also stain resistant toys. So if you want to wash it, you can wash it out really easily. And this is great for children because they're messy and they make a lot of messes. And we'd be advertising on social media such as Instagram or Facebook because I know a lot of older people that have children are on Facebook, so they're more inclined to see it and buy it for their kids. So you should choose us. Yeah,
All right.
sorry.
Give her a round of applause. Boop, 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 boop. And Karen said, tired of regular transportation, need something new. Well, go ahead and switch out those training wheels because Bike and Co's got your back. Bike and Co's is a fully electric with high quality tires. Built for a lifetime of riding. However, if you feel a little more natural, there's still a non-electric mode. Let's give Karen a round of applause. Okay, and let's get one more. Let's get one more person. Let's try Miss Maya. Miss Maya still on? Miss Maya, you don't want to come off mute. How about the Joey?
I got you.
Okay.
Introducing J Fizz, the soda that brings spark to every sip. We're redefining refreshments with bold, natural flavors with just the right amount of fizz.
Okay.
Pop open a can of J Fizz and
Sorry.
feel the buzz of the flavor that keeps life exciting. Thank you for listening.
All right, let's give Joy a round of applause. Woo, 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 woo. Joy got the applause going. Yes, yes, yes. So does anybody have any questions for me? Any questions for me? Okay. So what I want you to do right now before we go is drop one thing you learned today in the chat. Or you can say it if you want to, but drop one thing that you learned today in the chat. Okay. Oh. Strengthen my brand image, the importance of branding. Okay, okay. Anybody? Let's see who else. Importance of branding, how to stream my brand, marketing tactics, using social media to market, how advertising reaches different people, how to advertise my brand. Does anybody in here actually have their own business? I know the last time I presented, a lot of the students had businesses. So I was giving them some advice. Does anybody on here, do you have a business or a brand? How to develop a better brand. So Janelle, you have a business. What's your business?
I provide hair care.
Okay, what's the name of your hair care line?
Right now it's Crown of Coils, but that's the thing that resonated with me the most. But I feel like I wanted to change it because I noticed a lot of businesses have that same name or a similar sounding name. So I wanted to change it.
Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that if you feel like you want to change it. Definitely do that. And so who is your target audience?
So my target audience is mainly females, and it's mainly around like the ages 15 and up, just because I don't have a lot of experience with younger children and like doing their hair because I know they can be a lot fussy when they're sitting in the chair. So I try to reach for higher.
So are your products for natural hair girlies?
Yes, so mainly women with afro textured hair.
Okay. So how are you? So that's a heavily saturated market, right?
Yes.
And we didn't discuss this, right? So anytime that you are dealing with a product or a brand, even if you're creating your own, you want to have something called a USP, which is a unique selling proposition. And that is something that is going to make you stand out against your competition. So you said you wanted to change the name. So think of, now that you know, of course, there's so many products for natural hair girlies. Come up with something that is really going to make you stand apart from all of those other brands. Okay. Paulina, I'm working on a humanitarian project, but I'm not sure there's much marketing. It's more internal right now. Definitely start doing some research. Whatever your project is, check to see if there's something similar and just kind of watch what they're doing. Anything that you're doing that's a product, service, whatever, requires marketing. So it's just understanding what it is or whoever that is for. Okay. All righty. So if nobody has any other questions or any other comments, we can wrap up.
All right, y'all. So we do have our Mentimeter for tonight. Thank you, Miss Tiandra, for holding it down and leading everyone through this introduction to marketing and branding. Y'all, it's just an introduction. This is just the tip of the iceberg. I hope that some of you, it piqued your interest. If you have any follow-up questions, don't hesitate to reach out. And also don't forget that we have the Google Classroom. So in the Google Classroom, there are some materials that go a little deeper into the things that were covered today. So you do have a bit more resources there. For any of you that are currently, doing business, you can definitely reach out for any thoughts, recommendations. If you want to get some assistance with running your first campaign or brainstorm on branding, whether it's the messaging, the image, right? There's there's a lot of options out there now today. So
And I put my email in there. It's in the chat. So if any of you all have any other questions, didn't want, was nervous to speak, that's my business email. So please feel free to use that.
yes, reach out to her. So this is, you guys will probably hear me say it a lot, or not this cohort. I'm not teaching as much in this cohort, but your network is your net worth,
Yes.
right? So you're tapped into the marketing maven. You have a direct line. Not everybody
Direct.
has this direct line. So you want to, with good timing and when you're ready, if you have the question, you have the ask, use the line and make the ask so that way you could get that's an advantage that not everyone has, right? To talk to someone that has done it, that could give you guidance and make sure that you don't need to make certain mistakes because they could tell you, don't go this way, go that way, don't do this, do that. And that just saves you time, effort, right? Right. So thank you so much, Miss Deandra.
Thank you.
Gonna pivot now into the presentation. Oh yeah, I have it up on other screen already. So we have that last link that I dropped in there that has the menti.com. That is our Mentimeter for tonight. So at the end of each week, we have our kind of review here. Oh, wrong screen. Where we just reinforce learning. So we go through that. So let's see. I'm also going to move the screen over to the other desktop. No problem. So go ahead and jump into the Mentimeter. Go. Are you guys see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
I also put the other survey for just to let you know, JR, in the chat too, just to let you know.
Okay, cool. All right, so this one's not too long. This is only 6 questions long, so y'all get a little break. I know some Thursdays these could be like 12 questions, so you get a little break tonight. All right, so we got 8 folks in. All right, we'll get with it. All right, so question number 1, you guys should know the deal right now. What is cash flow? Fastest selection also earns more points. All right, 100%. Good job, everybody. All right, question number 2. What do you use to measure cash flow? What do you use to measure your cash flow? Receipts, files, cash flow statements. How do you measure your cash flow? All right. Yeah. So receipts and files kind of go into it, but ultimately it is that cash flow statement. That's what your accountant is going to be looking for. Right? Halfway point. One of the primary goals of blank communications is to persuade consumers or businesses. So fill in the blank. One of the primary goals of what communication?